calm yourself, my love. That's what I told her, because she was getting all upset about this particular advert at Lush Limited. I love Lush, by the way, massive fan. This is what she said. Teenage girls love to shop in your stores, and here you are happily encouraging them to cut off their healthy breasts in the name of trans pride. She was like, this is beyond repulsive, it's dangerous and sick. No parent should allow their child near your stores. And so I responded and said, calm yourself, my love. No teenage girls are having their healthy breasts removed. Just teenage boys are having their gynecomastia, boobs, resolved so they can live in freedom in their bodies. Also, by the way, puberty blockers prevent the need for top surgery, FYI. So Julia then invited me on her show, TalkTV, to talk all things trans. Now, I know that Julia has a little bit of a reputation for not being the most trans-positive person in the world. Some people say, Helen, why did you do it? Why did you do things like that? Why do you bother going on shows like that when their views are so anti-trans? And it's like, well, do you know what? Because otherwise they just get to spout this stuff from their big platforms on television, on social media, on radio, online, and they get to spout all that stuff. And it's not true. And it hurts people. People are hurt. So I do go on there to tell the truth. And so I'm just going to unpick our little conversation, Julia's and mine, and see what she said and what I think.
I'd like to say we're now joined by the founder of Gender GP, Dr. Helen Webberley, live in the studio.
So, founder of Gender GP, back in 2015-16, I saw that there was a huge need for better healthcare for trans people. They needed better access to support and counselling and psychotherapy if they needed it to support them in their journey. They needed better access to puberty blockers and gender-affirming hormones, and that's people of all ages, not just children. And they needed better surgery, they needed better support, better research, better care. Most of all, they needed somebody to understand them. And so the NHS wasn't doing it. So I proudly founded Gender GP, which has gone on to help thousands and thousands and thousands of trans people access the care that they need. And I think it's fair to say that I have personally helped thousands of young people safely transition.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
My pleasure. She was so polite to begin with. Thanks so much for joining us in the studio. And I can just see the fire behind her eyes. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you.
I wanted to talk to you. You've been quite busy on social media. You've responded to a few of the posts that I've made.
Actually, I've just responded to that one because Julia's social media isn't something that I would want to engage with. But actually, when she's spouting that misinformation so badly, that beautiful picture that Bucky did of the tiger for Lush's Trans Pride campaign, I couldn't resist it. I don't want her talking about trans boys in that way. It's not right.
And in particular, we had the publication of a draft bill last week by the Equalities Minister Olivia Bailey about a draft bill to ban conversion therapy, not just gay conversion but also trans conversion therapy.
So this draft bill has been a long time coming. I don't know whether you've had your eye on it. The fact that we've got to 2026 without banning such a therapy is absolutely dire and awful. In fact, I was speaking to a lady the other day who has breast cancer, and one of her colleagues was telling her that one of their friends does this, I don't know what to call it, I don't know, therapy, and that she shouldn't really go for her radiotherapy at the hospital. She should come for their therapy instead, and she'll have a much better chance of curing her breast cancer. And I'm like, this stuff exists, and conversion therapy is no better. And how have we got to 2026 without it being banned? That's what I want to know. It's atrocious that it carries on. And when we talk about conversion therapy, when you listen to people who've been through conversion therapy, it's not just the real extremes, like come into my office and let's have 20 sessions while I persuade you that you shouldn't be gay or trans. It's much more subliminal than that. And I'll come on to that in a little minute.
And basically, it could mean, many are warning, the campaign is warning, that parents, teachers, therapists, doctors could risk up to 5 years behind bars.
Good. And I know she goes on about parents, teachers, therapists, doctors, because that's what they like to do. They like to pull it away from, real healthcare, where registered qualified doctors and therapists are providing this, and they're like, oh, well, what happens if a mum or a dad or a parent or a guardian or a teacher, what if they said to their child, ooh, are you sure you're trans? I'm going to put you in jail for 5 years. Just doesn't happen like that, does it? But people like Julia like to bring those things in because it makes her little words seem much bigger and more scarier. Don't believe it. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this video. I notice that some of you don't actually subscribe, and it would really help me if you did subscribe, and it will also make sure that you can get my next video if you want to. So just click the button.
If they try to talk children out of irreversible trans treatments, including puberty blockers.
So we're not talking about conversion therapy, talking people out of irreversible treatments such as, what we're talking about with conversion therapy is trying to convert someone's identity, trying to convert them away from being gay and instead being straight, or trying to convert them away from being trans and instead being cisgender. We're not talking about someone persuading someone not to have medical therapy. That's not what conversion therapy is. Conversion therapy is trying to negate someone's identity, turn it into something that it isn't, because it would be better if you weren't gay or you weren't trans. Yeesh.
I want to talk to you because you run a business selling puberty blockers to children.
Well, I don't run a business selling puberty blockers to children, so I think we just need to clear that up.
What do you do then?
Children don't need puberty blockers.
So this is the first point, and it gets on my nerves, right? So they purposely use the word children. So you can imagine a skippy, happy little girl running around, playing with her friends, and someone pounces on her and sells her puberty blockers. It's not how it happens, is it? What happens is, and in medical language, a child is prepubertal, before puberty, and adolescent is after puberty starts. It's when you're going through into adulthood. And then adults is when your puberty is kind of finished, you're done and dusted. Even though, let's not forget, those changes take years and years and years and years and years to actually finish developing maturity. So this is why I just wanted to clear her up on her child comment. They're not children. These puberty blockers are given to transgender adolescents who are going through a really painful puberty that's making their body change in ways that are so distressing for them, so distressing.
So children don't need puberty blockers. And let me just be clear, I don't sell puberty blockers to children. They give them for free.
I don't sell puberty blockers to children. What happens, and I talk about this later, is that doctors prescribe medication to patients. That's how it works. I don't sell puberty blockers to children. It doesn't work like that.
Because actually young people in this country can't access puberty blockers. So just to clear that up.
So very sadly, and hopefully temporarily, young people in this country, if they are transgender, are not allowed to access puberty blockers. You can't get them on the NHS because there's no service, and you're not allowed to get them privately because the Conservative Party quickly put in a ban just before they were kicked out. So young people can't actually access puberty blockers. Oh, unless you're cisgender, unless you really are a cisgender child, like age 3, 4, 5, 6, going through a puberty that's too early for you, well, then you're allowed them, but not if you're a transgender adolescent who's going through a puberty that's really, really hurting, then you're not allowed to. Where's the fairness in that?
I don't sell puberty blockers to children.
But the puberty blockers that were supplied by your company, Gender GP, are given out for free. It's a lovely, lovely, warm, cuddly, fuzzy charity. Is that the case?
I don't really know why she's going on about this, given out for free. I mean, I don't know what she's trying to trip me up with, but let's just make this clear. You can't get a puberty blocker unless it's prescribed by a doctor.
I mean, it's agreed. You said they're not given. You said that you don't sell them. You run a business. You founded a business called Gender GP that supplies these drugs to under 18s, children. That's what I call under 18s, children.
Okay, well, listen, you've laid it out that I am the supplier and seller of puberty blockers to children.
Would you give them for free or not? Do you not give them to under 18s, or do you give them for free?
It's funny how she just doesn't want to listen. She struggles. You can see her in the previous couple of frames looking through the glass at her producer like, I'm a bit lost here. And then I try and clarify and she cuts in again. But do you know what? When she's struggling like that, that's what she does.
There's new law. Do you think it's right that a parent... I've got friends who've gone through this.
I've got friends who've gone through this. I wonder what she means. So has she got friends? Is she saying she's got friends who have tried to convert their child away from being gay or trans. Is that what she's saying? Because I tell you what, if you try and convert your child away from being who they are, there's not going to be a happy outcome, not for anybody, not for you and not for your child. I promise you that.
I've got friends who've gone through this, that a therapist who is dealing with a troubled child, a confused child, a child who may be autistic.
Troubled and confused child. So not a transgender child or a gay child. We're not admitting that, are we? We're just saying, oh, you might have a troubled or confused child that you want to then convert through conversion therapy away from being trans or gay. She's just got it so wrong.
As we know from the Cass report, may be gay and uncomfortable about being gay, or in a family where perhaps one of the parents disapproves of homosexuality.
If you have a parent who is disapproving of their gay child and not wanting their child to be gay, I would personally say that is a form of emotional abuse and neglectful of their needs. And we should be questioning or retraining that parent and putting things in place to save that child.
Do you think that a parent or a therapist trying to talk that child out from doing something like taking puberty blockers drastically altering their body?
See, she's back on it again, isn't she? Conversion therapy isn't about someone trying to stop you taking puberty blockers. Conversion therapy is about someone trying to stop your identity. Other people in this country have stopped everybody getting puberty blockers. That's not conversion therapy, Dr. Cass.
I don't think there has actually been a big issue in this country with even gay conversion therapy. That's a big thing in America.
Well, you may not know, but there are plenty of LGBT people who have been through conversion therapy, whether that's full-on elastic bands, vomiting, prayers and what have you, or whether it's subliminal preference.
So I just want to expand on that for those people who don't know. So in the olden days, maybe today, I don't know, the therapists used to use elastic bands, so around your wrist, and if somebody had a gay thought or were aroused by a gay image on the screen or that they were showed, they would snap the elastic band. And so basically what they were trying to do was associate bad thoughts, gay thoughts, with pain, so that maybe that your body would stop doing it and stop having pleasure from those thoughts. Or they used to use drugs that made you sick, so that and then make you watch stuff that normally you would find arousing or pleasurable, but instead you would associate it with being sick, and to try and stop your brain from being pleasured or aroused from those feelings. It's horrible. And then also, of course, prayers, pray to God or pray to whoever you believe in that this is wrong, and therefore please stop this person having these repulsive, disgusting, revolting gay or trans thoughts. It's shocking. And it's so harmful.
I mean, I wouldn't be, if it was my daughter and, she said she was trans, I wouldn't have a subliminal view on this. I'd have a very clear view on this.
She says something really important here. So if her daughter, she has a daughter, if her daughter was trans and came to her and said, Mum, I don't think I'm a girl, I'm actually a boy. And that's what transgender children say to their mums and dads and guardians and teachers. And what your reaction is so important. If you deny them your support and understanding and acceptance, one of two things will happen. Either they will try and suppress it, and all that does is try and suppress their own truthful identity, and the ramifications of that later on in life are severe. The mental health problems that people have from trying to suppress something for so long are terrible. Or the other thing that happens is the child says, bye, and they make their own way in life. There's no good outcome here. So Julia, if your daughter, or if there's any other parent listening out here, if you think the best way to deal with your child when they come to you saying, I am trans, is to say, no, you're not, you're completely wrong, and you're setting yourself up for difficulty after difficulty, and a relationship that will be broken forever. On the other hand, if you say to your child, that's so exciting, I'm so pleased for you, I'm so happy for you, let's work this out together, how shall we manage the years ahead? You're going to keep that relationship and you're going to have a happy child.
And I feel sorry for your daughter then, if your daughter was trans.
Yeah, well, I would feel sorry. I think one should show nothing but kindness and respect and sympathy to people who do believe this.
Sympathy. What? Why would you? Why? She comes from a world where you'd feel sympathy for somebody who said they were trans. Oh my God, oh my God, are you? Oh no, oh that's so awful for you. Oh, I can only imagine how you must be feeling. Shut up.
Sympathy, why sympathy?
Because
Sympathy. We should be embracing queerness. We should be embracing
well,
LGBT.
let's not use the term queerness. I'm afraid. I mean, I'm from a generation where that was used as a term of abuse against gay people, so I choose not to use that word ever.
I have people in my family who are queer, beautifully queer, and the queer joy that I saw when I was growing up was beautiful. So maybe in her generation, she feels that queer was a slur against gay people. I see queerness as beautiful and joyful and colourful and at the beautiful spectrum of diversity. So maybe we just came from different places.
Queerness, trans, these are very different things.
I don't know what she said then. Queerness, transness is very different things. To me, it's not. It's the beauty of queerness.
So I want to clarify. Do you believe that there are... Because I don't believe there's any such thing as a trans kid, right?
She doesn't believe that there's any such thing as a trans kid. Okay, well, that's really difficult, isn't it? Because transgender children definitely exist. Every single transgender adult was once a transgender child. Now, they may not have said it when they were born. They may not have said it when they were 3, 4, 5 or 6, but they were trans. They were trans from the minute they were conceived. And that is a given. So the fact that she feels that she doesn't believe that trans children exist, she could not be more wrong. I promise you that.
There is a protected characteristic. It doesn't mean that they actually are trans. That's what I want to ask you specifically.
So wait, and then she just moves on because she realises absolutely how absurd this is. So there's a protected characteristic, but that doesn't actually mean that they're trans. And it doesn't mean that trans people exist. I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about here?
Do you believe that there are children who are born in the wrong body?
Born in the wrong body. Again, it's just, Julie, you need to really watch your language. This is
don't tell me what language to use. That's not going to go down well for you, Helen.
Well, I did tell her to watch her language, and I'll tell her again, Julia, watch your language. It's offensive, extremely offensive. And your denial of transgender identities is extremely offensive. It's not only offensive, it's harmful, it's hurtful, and it causes a lot of damage.
Okay, so you don't think that phrase is,
Nobody's
meaningful?
born in the wrong body. What an offensive thing to say.
You accept that?
And I just want to explain that a little bit for those who may not understand what I'm talking about. It is a terminology that people have used, born in the wrong body. But actually, what we should be moving towards is no body is wrong. No body is wrong. Now, maybe your body doesn't match who you are and you want to make amendments to your body. That's just standard. We've had that throughout history, throughout life, throughout medicine. So some people want to make some changes to the way their body looks or feels or performs for you. And that's fine. But labelling it as the wrong body, born in the wrong body. We need to move away from that language. It's not helpful. It's a negative connotation. Everyone was born in their body, and everyone should have the right to make their body the most beautiful for them and make it function in the most beautiful way for them.
If my child said to me, I'm Spider-Man, should I affirm that as well?
I love it. You know, sometimes I think they think they're so funny. I sometimes think, did you not do any research before you had me on your show? Because it's like, oh, I've never heard that one before. Oh my God, you've got me there. No, you haven't. All these things they say, Spider-Man, Spaceman, Alien, they're not identities. They're not human identities. They're not beautiful variations of human diversity. They are fictional characters, or they are a job. Astronauts, that's a job where people go up into space. Spider-Man is a fictional character that you see in books and movies and comics. You know, this is just such a ridiculous argument, and yet when she brings it in, she thinks it's so cool.
Do you not think I've not been asked that before?
Well, exactly.
Spider-Man is not an identity.
Spider-Man's not a thing.
Spider-Man is a fictional character from the television of a bloke who climbs up walls.
But a child could honestly believe that they are Spider-Man.
It's not a belief.
You see, and then they come back with that one. But what if the child honestly believed they were Spider-Man? And, you know, does she not understand children at all? If you understand children, we understand make-believe, and we can understand that people want to dress up or pretend to be the Superman, pretend to be a Spider-Man, pretend to be a cat, pretend to be a dinosaur for the day. It's fine. That's very different from someone saying, Mum, please understand this clearly. I am actually a girl.
Well, how do you know what you are? Do you,
Well,
do you look in the mirror, or is it
well,
that you just
I've
know?
known all my life. I was given female on my birth certificate because I haven't got a penis, I've got a vagina.
someone
I've given
else
birth, I've got
dictated.
pregnant and given birth to a baby. I think the evidence is very, very, very clear that I'm a woman.
I'm not sure she's rehearsed that question. Julia, how do you know that you're a woman? Well, because somebody wrote it on my birth certificate and somebody else made me pregnant and I gave birth to a child. So therefore I know I'm a woman. I tell you what, if we classified women as people who someone else wrote it on a birth certificate that they're going to be a woman, and someone else made them pregnant and then they gave birth to a child, and that means they're a woman, I think we've gone back a very, very, very long way.
I've never questioned that. The vast majority of people don't question it. And until very recently, before this started being pushed as a political agenda, very few children question it.
I wonder how she knows that. And actually, before this started getting pushed as a political agenda, very few children thought it. It's just not true. Ask the transgender adults of today, what were you like when you were a child? What were your thoughts about your gender identity when you were a child? And all of them will say, I knew something wasn't right from a very early age. I may not have had the words to describe it, but I knew something wasn't right, something was different, something was askew. So to say that transgender children have only just appeared on our horizon is absolutely wrong. It's just we're not listening to the right people. We're not asking the right people. We're not asking transgender people. Transgender people, please share your experiences of what it was like when you were a child, because those stories are there, they're out there. When I was a child, I knew from a very early age. When I was a child, I knew something wasn't quite right, but I didn't know the words for it. When I was a child, my understanding was different. But looking back, my gender identity has always been different from the sex that I was assigned at birth.
I can think that I'm a German Shepherd dog if I want, but it doesn't mean that I am.
German Shepherd is a dog. We're talking about human identities here. Spider-Man climbs up buildings. Dogs are a different species.
She didn't like that one either, did she? I know, I've got a really great example. I can think I'm a dog. No, you can't.
That is clear to me. It's gender dysphoria. It's a mental health issue.
Gender dysphoria is not a mental health issue. Mental health issues or mental health illnesses or poor mental health are things like extreme sadness, anxiety, depression, schizophrenia. But that being transgender and gender dysphoria is not a mental health issue. It's an innate part of who we are. However, denying transgender people the right to exist, the right to be themselves, the right to access their basic human rights, including healthcare, that causes mental health problems. It causes sadness, anxiety, depression, self-harm and suicide. So no, gender dysphoria is not a mental health problem, but being denied who you are can indeed cause mental health problems, and it's very, very sad.
Cash review was carried out by one of the leading paediatricians in the country. It's been widely accepted.
And widely discredited.
It has not been remotely discredited.
It's funny, isn't it? Because people, Julia, it hasn't been remotely discredited. I don't know, if you're listening, just put in Dr. Cass review discredited and just see whether anybody out there has actually discredited this review. There are many, many, many big bodies and small bodies who have exquisitely analysed this review and come to the fact that it should be discredited, her results should be put aside, and we should start listening to true transgender experts, the experts who provide care and the experts who live as transgender people every day. Those are the true experts.
That is simply untrue. The Cash review made it very clear, and this was something that was widely available as evidenced already, that the vast majority of young people who not just attended the Tavistock Clinic in London, but also other transgender treatments, that they are children who have they're either autistic, they're gay children, they have other issues, lots of other mental health issues, depression, anxiety, some have been abused, lots of other issues.
So she rolls off this list. Some have been abused, some have got mental health issues, some of them have autism, some of them are gay. Can I just say, it's okay to be transgender and gay. It's okay to be transgender and autistic. It's okay to have characteristics of autism and of social isolation because of being transgender that may overlap. It's okay to be multi-diverse. We call it intersectionality. And just because you are autistic or on the autistic spectrum doesn't mean that we have to now disbelieve your gender identity. Just because you are gay or lesbian or bisexual doesn't mean that we have to now disbelieve your transgender identity. Just because you have mental health issues, mental health suffers if you don't listen and care and respect for transgender people. So yes, there is a higher incidence of mental health issues in transgender people, but we should be supporting that, not saying, oh no, wait, you've got mental health issues, therefore I'm not going to believe that you're trans. It's really, really damaging, that narrative.
I just want to say to all the transgender people who are watching this show that you don't have a mental illness. And what I would like to say...
Mental health problem.
So she doesn't like it when I wrapped it all up as mental illness. She wants to just divert onto, oh, it's not a mental illness, it's a mental health problem. We don't have one of those either.
But I would also like to say that attitudes such as yours cause mental health problems in people who are simply trying to live their life.
And you're stopping people living their lives.
And you said I was going to have a go? And your description there, listing off all of those attributes of a transgender person, denies them their identity and denies them their right to live peacefully.
How does it deny them
in
their
this
identity?
country.
She's confused. Let me explain, Julia. By saying that you don't believe that transgender children or people exist, by saying that you've got a penis, therefore you must be a boy, denies people their true identity. And their identity, in this case, we're talking about their gender identity. So by you saying, I don't believe transgender children exist, if you've got a penis, you have to be a man, you can't change your sex, it's all about biology, you are absolutely denying somebody their gender identity, their true gender identity. And then by listing all those things, the abuse, the anxiety, the depression, the autism, then you are absolutely denying that person's right to be who they are.
The vast majority of the children who, if they're left to their own devices, either, quote, grow out of this, go and live a perfectly happy, healthy life as gay men or lesbian women.
So basically, I think what I'm hearing is that if you go on to live your life as a transgender person, you're not ever going to be perfectly happy and healthy. Wow. How can she say that publicly? How can her producers say that? How can TalkTV allow this kind of stuff to come out of her mouth? Because when you unpick it, I mean, how damaging is that to someone who is truly transgender and just trying to be themselves?
More than 90% of the children who are given these drugs, of the young people given these drugs...
Have a look at my face here. I'm like, boo, 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 boo. Talking bullshit, 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 bullshit. Oh my God, on about that again, are we? Ooh, 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 cuckoo.
Go on to take hormones to actually, try and sex change hormones.
I think this is a really important point, right? So the vast majority of people who you give puberty blockers for to stop the pubertal changes that they don't want because they are transgender, go on to take gender-affirming hormones because they are transgender. So this idea that the vast majority go on from puberty blockers to gender-affirming hormones simply means that we got the diagnosis right. They were right all along. Yep, they didn't change their mind. They didn't want that puberty to change their body in that way. And so we stopped it, and then we gave them the other hormones, and then their body changed in the right way for them, and the way that matches their gender identity. Well done, we got it right.
What does true transgender children mean?
What does true transgender children mean? It means children who are transgender.
It means that somebody else put female on their birth certificate.
And they're not.
And they're not.
Well done. She got it. She got it. She got it. So somebody put female on the birth certificate and they're not. Was there a spark of recognition here?
What's the youngest age at which puberty blockers have been given to an under 18 child, as I'm going to use that word, by your company, Gender GP?
The appropriate time to give puberty blockers is when puberty starts.
They love it. They love this question. It's like, have you not listened to my stuff before? They're always like, what's the youngest age? Because if you give me a really, really young age, you're going to get really, really shut down here. And I'm like, when can puberty start? Yeah, really young. Yeah, and actually sometimes really, really, really young. And they always think they're so clever. Oh, I'm going to get you now. What's the youngest age? Let's say it's really, really small. And I'm like, yeah, it's really, really small. Because sometimes puberty starts in really, really, really small people.
So what's the youngest age?
The youngest age for puberty blockers, I mean, some children at the age of 3 or 4 can start puberty, and we give them puberty blockers.
That's different. That's a medical treatment.
Oh, no, that's different. That's a medical reason to give puberty blockers. So it's okay to give puberty blockers to people who are 3 or 4, true children, but it's not okay to give puberty blockers to adolescents who happen to be transgender and are about to start a puberty that's really going to rock them. That's not okay.
Well, that's a medical treatment.
That's a medical treatment for precocious
Hartley-Brewer
puberty.
comes back in again.
Dr. Hartley-Brewer comes back in again with medical facts. Everybody listen. Let's pop her on the stadium. Well done, Dr. Hartley-Brewer. No.
Are you under the illusion that people who don't have a medical degree are incapable of reading what medical experts say?
I'm not under the illusion that people who don't have a medical degree cannot read what medical experts and medical research says, but it's your understanding into interpretation. We're not taught in medicine just to read. We are taught to interpret, analyse, critically analyse, and also implement it. And that's what Dr. Julia Hartley-Brewer doesn't understand. She may read some words and then go, and that means that transgender children don't exist, and that means that it's okay to give puberty blockers to a 3 and 4-year-old, but it's not okay to give puberty blockers to a transgender 11 or 12-year-old. It's so wrong.
What's the youngest age a child that hasn't gone into precocious puberty
when puberty starts? So puberty starts in people for trans reasons. Oof.
Trans reasons. It's like she can't even bring herself to say trans people. So let me just clear this language up. I think what she's saying, the correct question is, and I'll give the answer afterwards, the correct question is, what is the youngest age that a transgender person should be given puberty blockers to prevent pubertal development? The youngest age that a transgender person should be given puberty blockers to stop pubertal development is when puberty starts, whatever age that happens. And that can happen as young as 3 or 4 in some people. We call that precocious puberty. And precocious puberty can happen in transgender children too. Let's not make that mistake. And standard puberty, if you like, can happen as early as 7 or 8. More usually around 9 or 10 if you have ovaries, or maybe 10 or 11 if you have testicles. And for some people, it's much later. So the youngest age that you should give puberty blockers to a transgender child who's requesting them is when puberty starts, whenever that is. It's not an age-based thing.
Quoting some of the risks there are: infertility, sexual dysfunction.
Infertility, right? Everyone says that one. Or you're going to make them infertile. Just Google trans male pregnancy and see if trans males who still have their ovaries can get pregnant, and you'll see lots of them. And then trans females, can they still produce sperm? Yes, they can. So to say that they're going to be automatically infertile is wrong. Now, maybe hormones do compromise your infertility, and that's a matter of consent between that person and their doctor. And I just want to say as well that consent is an ongoing process. So if someone is 7, they ain't going to be having babies soon. Give them puberty blockers to stop their pubertal development and give them some space and time. And when they're reaching a sexual maturity, we can start talking about the fact that we need to do something here to store gametes. Would you like to store your eggs? Would you like to store your sperms? But this idea that you give somebody this treatment and they're infertile forever is so wrong.
Infertility, sexual dysfunction, bone density damage.
Bone density damage. What happens is we need hormones, right? That's why cisgender children who have a late puberty, like 15 or 16, will start their puberty off because we need to start giving them hormones because our bones need hormones. So it's not puberty blockers that cause bone density problems, it's a lack of hormones. So if you're giving the puberty blockers to transgender children, make sure you're giving them their gender-affirming hormones at the right time when ordinary puberty happens, because we do need hormones for our bone density, that's for sure. But puberty blockers don't cause bone density problems, it's the lack of hormones. So when the Tavistock didn't allow their transgender children to start hormones until after 16, that was causing a problem for sure. And that's why good gender-affirming care means puberty blockers to stop the wrong puberty, and then gender-affirming hormones to start the right puberty at the right time.
brain developmental risk?
There's no evidence at all that brain development is impinged by puberty blockers. We give them to 3 and 4-year-olds for precocious puberty. There was one study that said, oh my goodness, we gave some puberty blockers to sheep and they didn't do so well. And it's like, we've been using puberty blockers for ages. We've been using puberty blockers in transgender children for over a decade. And we've seen that they grow up to be happy, healthy, confident young people. And that's the aim. So withdrawing and stopping this care just in case we're going to get a little brain development, there's just no basis for it. But stopping and withholding this care from children who need it causes immense problems.
And the reason that we got into this discussion here today was because of this campaign.
You're wearing a T-shirt. Oh gosh, yes, proud of my stripes.
Yeah.
This is the Lush campaign, and it's got a tiger apparently celebrating having mastectomy scars, cutting off perfectly healthy breasts.
Proud of my scars, yeah.
And actually, the queer artist who painted that picture that Lush proudly put up in their shop for trans pride and for pride in general, has undergone that treatment and understands that those scars are there and is proud of their body. And that is what we should be saying. We should be saying, just because you have a scar on your body does not mean that you are scarred. If your body is now better for you, if your body gives you that confidence, if your body now allows you to face the world with more joy, then that is something to be proud of.
And actually, do you know
repulsive.
What? Yeah, but puberty.
I hadn't registered that was what you were wearing. I mean, it literally makes me want to vomit.
Oh, would you like to? Can we have a bucket in here, please?
They didn't bring her a bucket. Glad she wasn't sick, mind.
Puberty blockers prevent this. So on the one hand, you're saying puberty blockers you could give them to anybody else, but not for trans things.
The World Health Organization lists gender incongruence as a medical condition that can have treatment. So if you go backwards on that, you can be prescribed medication for a condition called gender incongruence. It means your gender is different to the sex you're assigned at birth. And it's listed in the World Health Organization classification of illnesses and diseases. So it is a medical problem that we recognise, and we have to make a diagnosis, and then we have to offer treatment for those who want it or those who are eligible for it. So I'm sorry, Julia, you're wrong.
I was wanting to ask you, like, whether if a troubled child came to you as a doctor with anorexia, believing she was too fat, would you affirm that and help her lose more weight?
I just sometimes think that these people think they're funny. The amount of times that they've said that to me, oh, right, OK, so anorexic, would you affirm that as well? I have had that question so many times. Anorexia is a mental illness that needs special care, and it's very, very harmful, it's very dangerous, and we need specialist care for people who have anorexia. Being transgender is something completely different. It's your gender identity, and people sometimes request medication and surgery to help their bodies align with their gender identity. And also, people who are transgender who are denied the peace and happiness of living in their gender identity can suffer in their mental health and have poor mental health as a result of that rejection and that harm and that bias and that discrimination and that lack of access to care. But it's completely different from being anorexic, and having anorexia is a very, very sad thing that needs proper attention. So to use that as an example of affirmation, can I have a bucket, please?
I think, and I mean this very respectfully, I think people like you should be in prison.
As if I haven't heard that one before. She should be in jail, she should be locked up, she should be in prison. What was the crime exactly that I did? Believed when people say to me, I am transgender. Imagine if we were in a world where people who were transgender were believed. What if we lived in a world where they were celebrated? I've got something to say. I'm trans. Hooray! Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and don't forget that I write about this all day, every day on my website. Come and have a visit, I'll see you there. Link is below.